Hey, how are you doing? I am Tina Kagia, aka The Voice, and every single morning starting from 6 up until 10, catch me on the Morning Fix on 96.3 Nation FM, where good music lives. Let's have awesome conversations, talk about life, love, money, politics, school, education. No topic is out of bounds.
Mornings with Tina Kagia, 96.3.
Nothing but the best of conversations, talk about your stories, because honestly, it's important to unwind. See you every day.
All the hits with Tina Kagia.
They're my morning
The Morning Fix on Nation FM. Nation FM, where good music lives.
He is the pioneer general manager at the newly launched Serena Hotel in Goma City, DRC.
My name is James Zavwala from Kenya.
A city that is known for Sunday physical exercises.
Kila siku ya Mungu tunafanya mazoezi kama hivi mnatoona hapa.
That and more on Daring Abroad this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on NTV.
Good.
New Year resolutions? Didn't you say the very same things last year?
A bit of pressure on how to unlock the new year 2021? Select a plot of value-added land within Garden of Joy Gated Community off Koma Kennel Road, Machakos. Now Kwamue January na 21K with Optiven. Call us now on 0790 300 300. Optiven Limited. Experience the difference.
This is NTV.
It's 2 minutes to the top of the hour, but you're just in time for the top bulletin in town. This is what's coming up.
Tonight, the broken system, the pain of a broken leg with no one to nurse it. Mombasa doctors slam county's move to fire them.
We have not received any letters to that effect. We know that it's an illegal event.
Also tonight, another lesson to learn. Baringo pastor takes off his collar and takes up the chalk.
Shule tangu ianzwe hatujakuwa na mwalimu yoyote. Nimekuwa nikisaidia tu tangu tuanzishe.
As schools are at space crossroads, the church says it has no closed doors.
On our part as a council, we affirm that the church facilities across the country will be available for schools that may not have adequate space.
Plus, the unity call across political divide in the pandemic war.
Because we are now all talking together, I think it's only fair that we manage this situation together.
But not so much of unity with ousted Governor Mike Sonko as he takes on President Kenyatta in court. And Post-election violence in the U.S. claims 4 lives.
This is our house. They tried to barricade people out, and now we're taking back this country.
Drama mingled with smoke as Trump supporters storm into Capitol Hill.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt, but you have to go home now.
Tramped Trump promises a peaceful transition, but don't expect to read his tweets or Facebook posts for a while.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
And while on air, we're also with David Agondo, our sign language interpreter, backed by a full team, bringing you the top stories of the day. And we start with the sixth state of healthcare in the country. The doctors sacked in Mombasa have been requested to suspend their industrial action. This comes after lengthy deliberations between bodies representing doctors in the country and the county government officials. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council says any doctor who reports back to work will not face disciplinary action, adding that the county has agreed to fast-track discussions regarding the doctors' grievances. NTV's Kevin Mutai starts us off.
Mombasa County health officials held a closed-door meeting Thursday with the leadership of the Doctors' Union in the Coast region to address their concerns. Some of the doctors who attended the forum say the key issue was their return to work formula, which they accused Governor Joho's administration of neglecting. The meeting comes a day after 86 doctors in Mombasa were dismissed by the county authorities for engaging in a strike.
We are not discussing about the dismissal letters, because those are diversionary tactics that we will not fall for. What you're discussing is what took us to the strike in the first place.
The doctors downplayed their sacking, maintaining that it's marred by illegalities. They argue that there's a matter in court involving the administration and the union that has to be heard and determined before any action can be taken against them.
We have not received any letters to that effect. We know that it's an illegal event, and our lawyer will deal with that aspect if they decide to take that turn.
They downed their tools in December 2020. Following their failure of a return to work deal they had agreed on. Since then, their actions have been reflected on the deserted public hospitals in the region. Patients have been forced to seek medical services in private hospitals.
The issues on the ground stand, and that is what we are focused on. We are focused with tunnel vision on the return to work formula. Yes, they can write much under 1 million letters. Yes, but what he's saying, you can now see the caliber of leaders that you are harboring.
Pesa zimetoka serikali kuu zimekuja kwa county, badili ya county ilipe hizo NHIF na NSSF na maloni na nini, hailipi. Zile gharama zinaongezeka, riba inaongezeka, mwisho benki inasema hii riba yote utailipa wewe. Kwa hivyo sasa mshahara ukiingia unakuwa ndo hupati kitu.
The Kenya Medical Association has also condemned the action taken by the county government, calling all its members for a meeting tomorrow to discuss the matter. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Mombasa.
To other healthcare givers affected around the country, specifically in Kisumu, and the nurses there have maintained that they have not received any official communication from Governor Anyang' Nyong'o's administration regarding their dismissal. Speaking to NTV, Ann Owiti, the Kisumu branch secretary of Kenya National Union of Nurses, said they have only heard about their sackings in the media. Okokusa has that report.
At the Kisumu County Hospital, a patient in excruciating pain arrives. But there is no health worker on site to receive him. Here, nurses have been on strike for a whole month, paralyzing operations.
Hakuna dawa amepewa, lakini sasa mpaka apigwe picha kwa sababu ni kuvunjika alivunjika.
On Wednesday, the county government cracked the whip on the striking workers, firing all the 428 of them for absconding duty. But a visit to the health facilities revealed that the action taken by Governor Anyang' Nyong'o's government has only worked to strengthen the nurses' resolve to stay away from work instead of ending the stalemate. Empty benches, locked wards, and deserted offices show a clear picture of the sorry state of affairs at the quiet hospitals. Ann Owiti, Kisumu branch secretary of Kenya National Union of Nurses, confirms to NTV that the strike was sanctioned by the union's national office, which is scheduled to make an official statement on Friday. Okokusa, NTV.
Let's go to the education sector now, and Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has reiterated learning under trees is the current best solution or option to schools facing social distancing challenges amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Magoha says he is satisfied with how schools are currently delivering services while relying on proper use of masks despite social distancing challenges. The CS has called on all schools heads to spend the 19 billion shillings allocated to schools on the intended purpose. Magoha was speaking after touring Ololua Primary School in Kajiado, accompanied by Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, among other cabinet secretaries.
So we are going to put there.
The best classroom here today is that classroom under that tree. And the reason is very simple. Trees add oxygen to the air and take away carbon dioxide. And so as far as children are concerned, that is the best classroom. Even though you can say social distancing is a challenge, it has not stopped us from delivering the services to our children.
I hear it in the media. Some of us were ridiculing the fact that our kids are learning in trees and in green spaces. It's nothing unique about it. It's happening across the country and across the world, in the US, in the UK. It is the in thing now to do.
And the focus all of us have is to ensure that our children are back in school and they are settled. That is the work we are all doing. And that's why we came here, to stand with the teachers, to encourage them.
The headache that has come along with the reopening of schools while still in a pandemic cannot be underestimated. Many schools are struggling with space and infrastructure, and as far as social distancing and physical distancing is concerned, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, has now offered what could be phrased as bringing the course of the cross to the crossroads.
We have found that the church facilities across the country will be available for schools that may not have adequate space to use them for purposes of easing congestions within the classes. Our clergy and professionals are also ready and willing to provide spiritual and psychosocial support to both learners and teachers and parents to ensure and enable them to cope with the pandemic.
Now to some of the realities we've been able to capture at various schools, and day 3 into the reopening of schools in the country, and pupils and students across the country continue to settle into their institutions of learning. But for some learners in Baringo County, the lack of adequate teachers and some of their social norms are making learning difficult. Lois Wangoi tells us why.
Tiati constituency is tucked deep in the hot and dry part of Baringo County, a constituency that struggles with provision of education owing to lack of enough schools and even teachers.
2 plus 2 equals to 4.
Wednesday morning, and a handful of pupils have found their way to Loiwamoi Primary School. This early lesson is being conducted by a volunteer, a preacher who would normally be preaching the gospel but has had to do the math lessons because the number of teachers here just doesn't add up. Loiwamoi Primary School was established by the Ministry of Education 3 years ago, but the ministry is yet to deploy a teacher here.
I have a book.
This preacher is among other volunteers who visit the school occasionally to teach. He lacks proper training, but he has opted to teach the learners basic English, Kiswahili and mathematics.
Walimu hatuna. Pastor Isaac no anatusaidia hapa sana. Na tunahitaji serikali waitolee kabisa watusaidie.
Shule tangu ianzwe hatujakuwa na mwalimu yoyote. Nimekuwa nikisaidia tu tangu tuanzishe mpaka wa leo.
A closer look at the learners, and we note all the learners in the school have been bundled up together to grasp what they can. This is for those who really want to learn.
I have a ball. I have a ball.
No luxury for dividing them according to their age or capability. This 10-year-old boy impresses the class after mastering the alphabet successfully. That here is a big deal, much as it doesn't match up to what his peers are capable of doing elsewhere in the country. At Sugut Primary School, the narrative is similar. The school has one teacher.
According to their place.
On this day, only 7 girls have turned up. A bigger number of schoolgirls here fell prey to FGM and early marriages over the 9-month stay-at-home period. The boy child is also not in class. All the boys from this school are undergoing circumcision and traditional rites that follow according to the Tugen culture, after which some consider themselves adults, they marry and raise families.
Ile kitu inafanya enrollment ishuke ni kwa sababu walimu wako. Unakuta mwalimu mmoja leo anafunza from grade 1 to grade 4. Wale watoto wa class 5 na 6 hakuna mtu anafunza.
The lack of proper infrastructure and resources in Tiati constituency has left the Baringo boy and girl child at a great disadvantage. With lack of support to scale through education, young, otherwise brilliant minds settle for less in early marriages, teenage pregnancies for girls, while the Baringo boy child either marries and assumes adulthood early, as some of their peers find manual jobs.
Yes, that's finding manual jobs that seem to be more lucrative than sitting in a classroom. Thanks to that report by Lois Wangoi, we're able to appreciate some of the challenges in Baringo, and also hats off to the teachers who are volunteering their time and resource to help. And speaking of teachers, just to appreciate where they come from and what they're faced with, teachers have been listed as among the frontline workers in Kenya's war against the COVID-19 pandemic. In light of this, we sought to know how many of those in public schools have contracted the disease. And of the more than 300,000 public school teachers, the data that the government has available to it is not a full picture of the situation. Dan Mwangi takes us through the numbers.
Comes to the state of teachers and COVID-19, the Teachers Service Commission, TSC, which is the employer of public school teachers, has released some data on the same. The total number of teachers in public schools who have been reported to have contracted the coronavirus disease between March 2020 and the 6th of January 2021 stands at 345. Now let's break down this number. Of the 345 patients, 36 have unfortunately succumbed to the disease, which according to TSC is 0.01% of the total number of teachers. The good news, however, is the largest number is that of those who have recovered, which as at 6th January stood at 209. And that is again according to TSC 0.06% of public schools teachers. The total of those who are still battling the disease is 101. Now this is divided into two. That is those on home-based care and those who are still in various hospitals receiving treatment. The TSC data indicates that there are 92 on home-based care while 9 are currently hospitalized. And in terms of gender, of those who have contracted the disease, 159 are male while 186 are female. And curious is how the number 345 compares to the total number of infections, considering the number of teachers in the country, because as at the date that these figures were out, there were over 97,000 infections, meaning that according to this data, the teachers in public schools who have contracted the disease since it hit the country stands at 0.4%, just under 0.4%. But this is also a factor of the source of the information, the source of the data that the TSC has received. Mark.
Daniel, as pointed out, the data is very low, barely 1% of the teachers, but this is because of what was available to TSC, and it is not the entire picture, hence may not be the most authoritative picture of the pandemic's hit on teachers, but hopefully a semblance of something that you can take to appreciate what they go through as they teach your children. Now, let's take stock of the spread of the coronavirus in Kenya. On a day that it emerged that 63 new COVID-19 cases, the highest daily number since July, was recorded in Hebei province, China. Now, that might not be alarming or sound alarming, and this is not to be alarmist, but last year, the same time, we had some numbers coming from Wuhan. Now, the number of lives lost to the coronavirus in Kenya has risen by 8, pushing the death toll to 1,702. Out of 5,424 samples tested, 335 people tested positive, which now takes the total number of infections up to over 97,700. There were 340 new recoveries reported today, which means that so far 80,306 people have been declared COVID-19 free in the country. Some action from the court today, and the High Court has officially withdrawn a petition challenging the nomination of Anne Kananu as Deputy Governor of Nairobi County. This is after the petitioner, Peter Agoro, filed a notice to withdraw the matter. Vincent Odwor has that report.
Last year, impeached Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, who was running the county without a deputy after the resignation of Polycarp Igathe, had nominated Anne Kananu to be his deputy. But a Nairobi voter, Peter Agoro, quickly moved to court to stop her vetting by the county assembly. Last Monday, Agoro reappeared and filed a notice to withdraw the case. Efforts by Sonko's lawyers to stop the withdrawal failed, as Judge Hedwig Ogundi argued that Agoro cannot be forced to continue with the petition he no longer wishes to pursue, and that no public interest will be suffered. Sonko's lawyers claimed that the petitioner was under pressure to withdraw the case. In court documents, Sonko alleges that President Uhuru Kenyatta's sister Christina Pratt Kenyatta called him before he was impeached, so he could nominate Jane Weru as the deputy governor and revoke the nomination of Kananu. Sonko argued that after the conversation with Pratt, he cancelled Kananu's nomination. But the court dismissed his arguments and urged him to appeal the ruling if he is dissatisfied. There have been spirited efforts by certain Jubilee political players to have Kananu sworn in as the deputy governor to avoid a by-election in Nairobi County that had been scheduled for 18th February. Before her nomination, Kananu was Nairobi's chief officer for disaster management and coordination. The withdrawal of the petition against her nomination now clears the way for Anne Kananu to be vetted by the Nairobi County Assembly. Vincent Odwor, NTV.
From the politics in the capital, we will be looking at the national politics in a bit after the break. Also, Capitol Hill, a lot of drama from there, the United States of America. Interesting times we're living in.
New Year resolutions? Didn't you say the very same things last year?
A bit of pressure on how to unlock the new year 2021? Select a plot of value-added land within Garden of Joy gated community off Koma Kennel Road, Machakos. Now kwamue January na 21K with Optiven. Call us now on 0790 300 300. Optiven Limited. Experience the difference.
I have good taste and only go for things that are real.
Only Manji make the real digestive biscuits. Real crunchy, real tasty, and the real source of high fiber. Manji digestive biscuits, the real thing.
Go ahead is believing to make each day a brighter day. It is our faith to start all over again. Go ahead is never giving up in the face of adversity. To go ahead, now that is the Kenyan spirit.
Mabati Factory offers best quality Mabati at the most affordable prices. We pride in our 10 years experience. Our products have 15 years warranty and are KEBS certified. We manufacture box profile, Europe tile, Jenga tile, corrugated S-profile, among others, in a wide variety of colors. Enjoy our free delivery in just 72 hours. To order, call us now on 0111 050 700. Ruiru Mabati Factory, Mali Safi kwa bei poa.
Dawa ni ya mede viroboto funza na pia kuguni tunauza hapa.
Hello?
Hello sir.
Huyu si Alusa?
Sir.
Hebu ngoja kidogo. Hebu simamisha hapo mbele. Unasema?
I am John from Safaricom. Now we've noted your line is registered ×2. Sasa ili tuhakikishe line ni yako, nipe ID number, date of birth na pin yako.
Okay. So ID ni 20445 Safaricom. Si waitishi mtu pin.
Nitafunga hii line yako usiponipa maelezo.
We, John, usinicheze by the way. Tulijichanua kitambo.
Sasa, mimi ni Zuri kutoka Safaricom na niko hapa kukuchanua. Kaa macho. Safaricom upiga kutoka 0722 000 000 pekee. Ukipigiwa na namba nyingine, usipeane maelezo yako ya kibinafsi. Tuma namba ya mkora kwa 333 ili Safaricom ichukue hatua. Jichanue and take control.
Do you think that it'll be easy for me to talk about what my husband did to me?
I'll never be capable of doing that to my wife.
Your wife already left the house. She was all dolled up and wearing a revealing short dress when she left.
I'm carrying Geronimo's kid and he needs to know about it. And my baby has the right to know his father even if he's
But
a
he's
scoundrel.
already married to your sister.
Whether you like it or not, I'm going back to Mexico right now. I'm not going to let my son live a life where it...
A veces desespero cuando me enamoro.
Welcome back. We continue with some siasa, and leaders from Western Kenya have long pushed for political unity among the Luhya community. The goal has been elusive, but the desire remains. The topic dominated the send-off service for ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi's mother, with calls to dissolve all other political parties and form a common vehicle towards the 2022 election. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi with more.
The Requiem service for Mama Hannah Atianzale Mudavadi presented an opportunity for political leaders from the Western region to reignite their age-old quest for their elusive Luhya unity. Speaker after speaker drove the point home, insisting their unity lay in the strength of the numbers they command.
Tumedharauliwa sana kama jamii ya Waluhya hapa Nairobi na Kenya, lakini mwaka huu Mungu atuonekanie, unity yetu ikuweko, tuongee na sauti moja, tuheshimiwe katika siasa za Kenya.
God has rewarded us when it comes to reproductive activities. Now we are #1 as far as population of this country is concerned. So come 2022, we want to form the government with others or on ourselves.
People talk about Luhya unity, what. It might just take 2 or 3 people, and our people will be together in the morning. And I believe if I sat with Wycliffe and somebody from Bungoma, like Wetangula or Mheshimiwa Kitui, it will not take very long for all of us to sing one song.
Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala stirred the hornet's nest, suggesting the unity could only be found if all the community's political leaders were bundled into one party that carries the aspirations of the community.
We must start speaking from a genuine point of view. We must not lie to each other. Aladwa, I'm trying to find the science that you're going to use and the mathematics that you're going to use to unite Luhyas when you're still in ODM.
You know what, kwa Biblia, the Israelites went around for 40 years because of division. But when they came together, they got to the promised land. So there is a reason for everything, and there is a season for everything, Honorable Cleophas Malala.
However, they seemed united on one thing: to rally behind Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who was described as the senior-most of the Luhya politicians.
You'll never walk alone on the journey of becoming the President of the Republic of Kenya. I'll stand with you. Me, I'm not a Judas Iscariot.
Luhyas, we have failed to unite behind Musalia Mudavadi, whom we have already coronated as our leader. There is no any other person who has been given the spokesmanship in Luhya nation other than you, Honorable Musalia.
My brother Musalia, we took a solemn promise to each other that we shall work together. And I'm happy to hear my colleagues, particularly from the primary stock of the Mlembe nation, saying the same thing.
But even as they called for unity of purpose ahead of 2022, Deputy President William Ruto, who was part of the service, took a different route, calling for the country's unity as opposed to community coming together.
We are talking about unity of communities. The most imperative unity is the unity of the nation, because the challenges that we face as a nation do not wear an ethnic regalia.
But even as talk of the elusive Luhya unity dominated the Requiem Mass, NTV understands that there are talks behind the scenes to bring all the warring factions of the Luhya communities onto the table and decide to back Musalia Mudavadi ahead of the 2022 general election. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Nairobi County.
Let's hear from those who actually should be on the pulpit on matters politics. There are 4 key things that, if attended to, will inspire hope that the 2022 elections will be free, fair, peaceful, and credible. This is according to the National Council of Churches of Kenya, whose executive committee met and discussed on these issues. And these are some of the aspects that they feel need urgent attention.
We would like the resolution of the leadership of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission through appointment of the commissioners that to replace those that resigned. 2, we would like an audit of the electoral process to identify the gaps that led to the previous concerns and shortcomings of the 2017 election. 3, we would like the review and updating of the voters register to be done early, and the passing and implementation of electoral laws to prepare for the 2022 election.
From the projected electoral concerns that need urgent attention, we take another break, 27 minutes past the hour. We handle business after the break.
Food got together beautifully at GMC Place. Enjoy our succulent meals in a serene setting with a varied choice of fun games for the little ones. Cup it up with a cuppa or a cocktail, all available to your taste. Discover the joy of a warm pool by diving into the Blue Oasis heated pool. Or at GMC Place, the fun never ends. Make your reservation today on 0701 560 560.
Welcome to our new office. Wonderful sight. Just imagine 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where the parking is, and then the warehouse front door here, the reception here, and the fridges here, the lorry's entrance there, and their exit there. One way only. What is it?
So where is the building?
Fast, stress-free construction. Get your factory-made buildings in 10 weeks with Southbuild. Order yours now. Southbuild, a quality building solution from MRM. Rena vegetable oil stays liquid to the last drop, so it's smooth cooking from start to finish. Now with an easy to pour cap. Mapishi poa, madishi poa.
Time to handle business, and I hope our editor Julian Samboko won't have a heart attack as he watches, if he's watching, because we're going to give it a bit of a different taste. Now, normally it's matatu operators who brand their vehicles, popularly known in street lingo as nganya, in a unique way to attract more clients. But salons and barbershops in Utawala Estate, that's in Nairobi's Embakasi, have joined the ride. Now, they have come up with a new design to catch the eye of the passerby. Fancy a flight as the hairdresser gives you a new look? Well, let's show you how.
From a distance, you may easily backtrack and wonder, is that a truck parked inside a building? But when you get closer, well, you're in for a surprise. You find a spacious room that can hold more than 20 people. The creativity and beauty does not end with the day. At night, flashes of light catch your eye from afar. So, what led to these creative designs?
The design of the truck started when the shop was designed inside, and then there was a space left here. So the people who are doing the design decided it could be a lounge, since hapa ndani venye mnaona hakuna space ya lounge. Sasa ndio wakaanza kufikiria juu tuko kwa barabara, nini naweza eko hapo azinuto akiwa nje ina attract ndani. So that is when they came up with something unique. Now the truck, personally I'll say niko kwa spa barber shop. Yeah, nikitoka nje ndo nasema nilikuwa ndani ya truck. Yeah.
While the atmosphere is fun, the salon is serious about the skills of the people who work here.
Okay, for the barbers, you just shave. I see how you are doing. But for the ladies, I need papers.
A few meters from the Million Hair Barber Shop, you can board your flight to nowhere but the land of a good hair day. Or, if you're bald, the land of smooth no hair.
For me, I thought we were just across the airport. And so I was thinking maybe we can have an aeroplane as the head of our shop. Be a little bit creative. So I wanted to attract many customers, because not sio Kenya wengi wametumia ndege, by the way. Very few of us tumekuwa na chance ya kupanda ndege. So nilikuwa nataka kupata hiyo chance, ni attract raia wa kawaida, asikie ni kama yeye pia ako inclusive. Most of them, they feel surprised, amazed. They are wondering, what is this? What is this? Because most of them, when they see the aircraft from the outside, the head of the aeroplane, they think that it's the whole thing, it's an aeroplane. But they come and find that it's a building and it's an aeroplane.
The designs may be flying high, but one of the key challenges for the barbershop managers is keeping their employees grounded.
Employees kusumbua, mtu ako job, mtu yuko job, mtu amekuja, maybe he's drunk, you know. So you cannot deal with such people. So you fire and hire. And now the clients are like, why are you firing and hiring people each and every time?
So next time you're having a bad hair day, why not drive or fly without leaving the hood?
Yeah, believe it or not, even I have my bad hair days. And thank you to Philemon Kimayo from our logistics department. He's the one who actually put that report together. I have an idea of where I can pay a visit to get this shine even lasting longer. That's creativity and innovation at its best. Now, on Monday, millions of learners streamed back to schools after a 9-month break from conventional schooling. But there are thousands others around the country who have not been able to get back to their classes because their private schools closed because they were not making business sense. A private school owner in Nakuru was forced to channel his income from his farm produce to sustain the running of the institution he owns. Proprietor Maurice Mugo told NTV's Ruth Saramwe how close he was to losing it.
Like many other private schools, St. Monica Lanet Secondary School was not exempted from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. learning was halted and the core business here was no more. Proprietor Maurice Mugo invites us to his mixed boarding school, which has over 280 students. Thanks to the farming business he has also been doing for 15 years, he was able to sustain himself over the 9-month period schools were closed, and beyond that, was able to get a second lease on life for his first love, that is teaching.
Hali imekuwa ngumu, lakini tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu ya kuwa na miradi tofauti tofauti kama ile ya ufugaji wa wanyama hapa. Tunafuga nguruwe, tunafuga kondoo, tuna ng'ombe ambao wanatupa maziwa. Kwa upande wa nguruwe tukishawapa chakula ambacho tunapata kutoka shambani, wanapata kunenepa na wanaponona tunawauza. Na hizo pesa tumekuwa tukisaidia sana katika kuendeleza miradi ya shule wakati huu ambapo ni mgumu, ambapo kupata pesa imekuwa vigumu kwa sababu ya idadi ndogo ya wanafunzi kulinganisha na ile ya mbeleni kabla ya kufunga shule.
For this career teacher, the pandemic has given him a lot of lessons.
Na kuwashauri watu kwamba wasitegemee njia moja, ni vema hata wakati tutakaporudi shuleni watu waanzishe miradi. Hata mimi mwenyewe ninaona nitatia jitihada mradi ni sasa niuchukulie kwa makini kuliko mbeleni.
The pigs, his major source of income, fetch 18,000 to 23,000 shillings, while the chicken are sold at 800 shillings. His advice to other business owners is to diversify their source of income. Mugo counts himself lucky that he is able to get back to providing the education service, but for those not so fortunate, he pleads for some form of support from the government.
Na ningependa serikali hakikishe shule yote ambayo ilikuwa inaendelea, ikiwa mwenyewe amelemewa kwa sababu pengine ya kifedha, wakati tutarejea waone kama kuna namna, hata kama sio kuwapa pesa bure, watafute njia ya kuinua angalau waweze kuendeleza zile shule.
Out of the over 35,000 private schools, at least 339 schools have not been able to reopen since January 4th as a result of the pandemic. Left with no choice, some have repurposed their premises and pursued more feasible business ventures. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV, Nakuru.
Thank you, Mugo, for inspiring many on resilience, and to Ruth Sarmoi and team for sharing that story. Now, several stakeholders at the Port of Mombasa are pushing for the adoption of new technology to help reduce congestion and delays of cargo. With the import and export business still reeling from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the need for new strategies to help the shipping industry catch up with lost time in business is not in dispute. Fatma Bugu, however, found some opponents to this idea and spoke to them.
The directive to ferry goods directly from Mombasa to the Naivasha Inland Container Depot was highly rejected by some of the stakeholders, and for good reason, according to them.
Kuchelewa kuload ama kupakiliwa sana sana inatokana na wafanyaji kazi pale katika port, na hii yote huwa inafanywa kimakusudi ili kuangamiza transport ije new technology. Kwa mfano moja ni kama SGR, ulazimishaji. Sisi hatuja kataa kupakiwa kwa mashehena kwa SGR.
Some other investors in the shipping industry are however coming up with strategies to improve the sector. The adoption of new crane technology, which is said to reduce the delays at the port.
Kwa muda mrefu transporters wamepata tabu, manake wapata mtu anaweka gari lake pale linapaka kwa siku nzima. Tumeona kuwa serikali imeweza ku-enhance mambo ya transport sector katika nchi yetu.
This technology is a game changer in shipping industry, meant to reduce cost and time taken to offload and load containers inside and outside port of Mombasa.
It is a modified machine with flatbeds that not only transports containers but also has the capability of loading and offloading.
As opposed to having 10 trucks move at once to Mtwapa to take 10 containers, we can have 2 or 3 trucks do perform the same service. Pulleys secure the container in 4 corners, making it stable, which is quite convenient for the medical industry.
However, this advanced way of loading and offloading is a double-edged sword.
Gari yoyote ambayo itakuwa inajipakilia, unless labda iwe container ile inaenda sehemu ambayo hakuna makreni, loadwa wapi, shida ziko huko. Kitu kama hiyo, gari kama hiyo labda itafaa sehemu za kule hakuna crane. itakuwa ni hali za kiuchumi kupotea, ajira zimepotea. Hii inatokana na system hizi zinazokuja za teknolojia.
The longest time people now have been complaining that the SGR has taken their jobs, but now bringing in this machinery, it gives them more opportunity to do more rounds and container handling.
Whichever stakeholder you talk to in the cargo business, from whatever side of the argument, the one thing they urgently need now is an intervention that will take the load off their backs and get them back into business. Fatma Bugu, NTV, Mombasa County.
Our director Jackson Dirago says it's not to take a CB. He says that's commercial break, fancy language. I'll be back.
Malkia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Piga *444# utunukiwe Credo double.
That's when she replied, "Give me one good reason to stay with you." Nikamtumia 100 reasons to be my boo. Akanisho unabonga sana kwa text lakini in real life when I'm timid. Hapo nika get minutes ya kupaint picture vivid. Akasema ati I'm in demand. Unadhani DM yangu ni MD? Kumbe nilikuwa nishasotiwa na 100 MB.
Call, SMS and browse from only 10 shillings with Telkom. Now that's power. Telkom, moving with you.
Maritime tips brought to you by Kenya Maritime Authority. Life jackets and staying safe in the waters. Life jackets prevent wearers from sinking and drowning, especially if they cannot swim or have been injured. The bright colors given to life jackets allows wearers to be spotted by rescue teams. Life jackets should be worn properly and in the right size in order to save lives. Wear a life jacket at all times when in a boat. In case of any emergencies at sea, call the Regional Maritime Rescue Coordination Center on 0721 368 313 or 037 719 414. Learn more about shipping, the blue economy and maritime activities by visiting us at www.kma.go.ke. Kenya Maritime Authority, for safe and efficient water transport.
Did you know at Ruru Mabati Factory you can open an account and lipa pole pole at your convenience? Did you know at Ruru Mabati Factory you can get customized sizes according to your roof plan to avoid wastage? Did you know Ruru Mabati Factory offers free delivery countrywide within 72 hours? Call us now on 0111 050 700. Ruru Mabati Factory, mali safi kwa bei poa.
Do you think that it'll be easy for me to talk about what my husband did to me?
I'll never be capable of doing that to my wife.
Your wife already left the house. She was all dolled up and wearing a revealing short dress when she left. I'm carrying Geronimo's kid and he needs to know about it. And my baby has the right to know his father even if he's a scoundrel.
But he's already married to your sister.
Whether you like it or not, I'm going back to Mexico right now. I'm not going to let my son live a life where it...
Welcome back, and to what has taken many by surprise internationally from what played out in the United States. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is asking the American public to provide information that would lead to the arrest of Capitol Hill rioters. Washington Chief of Police Robert Conti says 68 people have so far been arrested over the storming of the Capitol Hill on Wednesday as Congress met to certify Joe Biden's victory. U.S. Congress today formally certified the election of Joe Biden as the 46th U.S. president with 306 college votes, paving way for his inauguration on January 20th. Incumbent Donald Trump has pledged an orderly transition, although he hasn't quite conceded defeat. World leaders have condemned the storming of the U.S. Capitol in Washington by supporters of President Trump, with Russia saying the U.S. now loses any moral authority to question leadership in other countries. Facebook and Twitter have barred Trump from posting on the platforms after messages they said were promoting violence that has so far led to the death of 4 people. Let's listen to some of the aftermath thoughts, then take you to the events that led up to this situation.
Honestly, by like 6:30, this place was a ghost town. It was me, some homeless people, and a bunch of cops just wandering the street. God took a flight out here to, come hang out, just be with people, but it made it impossible.
It was horrible. It felt like we were in a failed state, and this is the United States of America. We're so proud of our democracy, of our history, and it felt so fragile in the moment. I live on Capitol Hill. I felt afraid. I had to get my son early from daycare. And I just felt really sad in reflection of all that we've been through this year.
Obviously, I don't condone violence. Things that happened yesterday was very sad. I heard this morning there were 4 people have lost their lives. I mean, 1 is enough. 1 is too much. But for majority of the people, I believe 99% of the protesters that were here yesterday, they were peaceful.
World leaders and governments on Wednesday expressed shock and outrage at the storming of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. by supporters of President Donald Trump. Wearing Make America Great Again caps and sharing biscuits and beers, hundreds of Donald Trump supporters insisted they would never accept Joe Biden as president as they traveled by bus from near Boston to Washington to protest Congress' expected certification of his White House victory.
We love Trump! We love Trump!
I am convinced that Trump actually won the election, and there was enough cheating and fraud that has been brushed away that they don't want to hear about.
We want to take back the country. It's from us. This is our house. They tried to barricade people out, and they knocked the barricades down like toothpicks. They're scattered all over, and now we're taking back this country.
The disgraceful scenes, which many have called an assault on U.S. democracy, its institutions and rule of law, happened as authorities raised concerns and fears of the demonstration attended by thousands of Trump supporters from across the country could turn violent. And it did. Republican lawmakers early Thursday objected to counting Pennsylvania's electors, further delaying the certification of Joe Biden's election victory after the House and Senate rejected an earlier challenge to his win in Arizona. The joint session of Congress was certifying the electoral votes of all 50 states to confirm Biden's 306 to 232 electoral victory in November. It was delayed when protesters stormed the Capitol building, triggering unprecedented chaos and violence that drew condemnation from around the world and some Republican scorn for Trump.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period.
Egged on in an extraordinary rally by an aggrieved Trump, a flag-waving mob broke down barricades outside the Capitol and swarmed inside, rampaging through offices and onto the usually solemn legislative floors. In a rapidly evolving sequence of events, Facebook and YouTube took down videos posted by Trump, and Twitter followed suit as the platforms claimed he was inciting violent protests by his supporters who stormed the US Capitol building.
Kama drama ni kama findio. It looks like it's a movie, but it's reality. Unbelievable, interesting times that we are living in. In tomorrow's Daily Nation, read about the big dilemma facing head teachers caught between obeying government orders not to send learners home for fees and running schools on empty. The shame of America as President Donald Trump finally agrees to leave the White House, and the fresh paralysis looming in hospitals following a fresh fallout between the government and striking medical workers, plus the last moments of the family butchered in Kiambaa. And it's time for another break. Sports follows.
Malkia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Piga *444# utunukiwe Credo double.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
New Year resolutions? Didn't you say the very same things last year?
A bit of pressure on how to unlock the new year 2021? Select a plot of value-added land within Garden of Joy gated community off Koma Kennel Road, Machakos. Now kwamue January na 21K with Optiven. Call us now on 0790 300 300. Optiven Limited. Experience the difference.
We offer courses in journalism, business management, human resource, ICT, among others. For more information, contact us on the details on your screen.
Do you think that it'll be easy for me to talk about what my husband did to me?
I'll never be capable of doing that to my wife.
Your wife already left the house. She was all dolled up and wearing a revealing short dress when she left. I'm carrying Geronimo's kid and he needs to know about it. And my baby has the right to know his father even if he's
But
a
he's
scoundrel.
already married to your sister.
Whether you like it or not, I'm going back to Mexico right now. I'm not going to let my son live a life where it...
A veces desespero cuando me enamoro.
Let's start with the Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur derby final. News that in the Carabao Cup, after City saw off neighbourhood rivals Manchester United 2-0 in the semi-final at Old Trafford, John Stones and Fernandinho struck in the second half to seal their passage to the final, in the process maintaining their quest to equal Liverpool's record of winning the competition 4 times in a row. A brilliant free kick delivered